Not everyone who wants your time has earned the right to it. That truth might feel uncomfortable at first, because many of us were raised to believe that kindness means always being available, always saying yes, always stretching ourselves thin for anyone who asks. But think about it, time is the most valuable currency you own. You can lose money and earn it back. You can miss opportunities and find new ones. But the hours you give away are gone forever. And if you give those hours to the wrong people, people who only take but never give, people who only drain but never build, you begin to notice that the best of you is being handed to those who don't even respect it. Too often, we assume that just because someone wants our attention, they deserve it. But desire is not the same as worthiness. There are people who come into your life not to lift you up, but to pull from your energy, to distract you from your purpose, to occupy space without adding value. If you open your door to everyone who knocks, soon you'll have no room left for the ones who were truly meant to walk with you. Protecting your time means recognizing that access is a privilege, not a guarantee. Consider this: when you say yes to everyone, you're not really saying yes. You're actually saying no. You're saying no to your peace, no to your priorities, no to the relationships that matter most. Every time you commit your energy to people who haven't earned it, you rob yourself of the chance to pour into those who have. It's not about being cold or unkind. It's about being wise. Even the most generous heart has limits, and if you don't guard those limits, others will gladly cross them. Some people approach your life like consumers at a buffet table. They take and take, but never stop to consider the cost. They call only when they need something. They show up only when it benefits them. And if you don't pause to evaluate, you'll confuse their presence with loyalty, their demands with love. But when someone values you, they don't just demand your time. They respect it. They show gratitude for the moments you share, and they never leave you feeling smaller after an interaction. This is why discernment is so important. Before you invest your energy in someone, ask yourself, do they contribute to my growth, or do they deplete it? Do I leave this conversation lighter, or do I leave heavier? Do they respect my no as much as they appreciate my yes? These questions help you separate those who are worthy of your time from those who are simply using it. And let's be honest, it's not always easy. Some of the people who drain you might be the closest to you, but proximity doesn't equal permission. Just because someone has known you for years doesn't mean they get unlimited access to your energy. Access must be earned, and it must be protected. Because the truth is, when you give away your time too freely, people begin to treat it as if it has no value. And that's not their fault. It's yours for not setting the standard. Protecting your energy doesn't make you hard-hearted. It makes you intentional. It means you understand that you have a mission, and you can't fulfill it if you're constantly distracted by those who refuse to carry their own weight. It means you know the difference between helping someone who truly needs you and enabling someone who simply wants to use you. It means you are brave enough to close doors that lead nowhere, so you can walk fully through the ones that lead to purpose. So hear me clearly. Not everyone who wants your time has earned the right to it. Some people belong in your prayers, not in your circle. Some people belong in your memories, not in your future. And some people belong at a distance, not at your table. The closing line: protect your energy, because your life is too precious to waste on people who haven't earned the privilege of walking in it. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is survival. For too long, many of us have carried the belief that saying no makes us unkind, that creating boundaries means we are pushing people away, or that prioritizing ourselves is somehow wrong. But let me tell you, there is nothing selfish about protecting your peace. In fact, it is one of the most loving things you can do, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. Because when you allow yourself to be drained, when you pour out until there is nothing left, you're not helping anyone. You're walking through life on empty, and no one thrives from an empty vessel. Think about it. Even the most powerful engine cannot run without fuel. You can polish the car, you can admire the design, but without energy, it goes nowhere. You are no different. Your spirit, your mind, your body, all of it requires energy to function, to create, to love, to lead, to fulfill the purpose you were placed here for. If you constantly give away that energy without replenishing it, eventually you burn out. And when you burn out, you lose yourself in the process. That is why protecting your energy is not a luxury, it is survival. People will always have needs. They will always have requests, demands, and expectations. And if you are not careful, you will spend your entire life running around trying to satisfy everyone but yourself. You'll wear a smile on your face while your heart is tired, your mind is anxious, and your soul is begging for rest. That is not strength, that is neglect. And neglecting yourself is one of the fastest ways to lose your joy. Protecting your energy means learning to pause before you give. It means asking, do I truly have the capacity for this right now? It means being willing to step back when the weight on your shoulders becomes too heavy. It means understanding that if you do not protect your inner peace, the world will have no problem disrupting it. The world is filled with noise, distractions, and people who will take as much as you allow. Survival means choosing to stand firm in the middle of it all and saying, I will not lose myself for the sake of pleasing everyone else. You may worry that people will misunderstand you, that they will call you distant or accuse you of changing, and maybe they will. But the people who truly value you will never see your boundaries as rejection. They will respect the space you create because they know it allows you to be your best self when you are present. It's only those who benefit from your lack of boundaries who will be upset when you start enforcing them. And their reaction is not your problem. It's their revelation. When you protect your energy, you give yourself the space to grow. You give yourself the room to heal, to dream, to rest, to reset. You give yourself the chance to show up fully when it matters most. You stop running on fumes and start living from a place of overflow. And from that place, your kindness is richer, your love is deeper, your wisdom is sharper, your impact is stronger. Protecting your energy doesn't make you less. It allows you to give more, because you are giving from a place of wholeness, not depletion. Survival in this world isn't just about making it through another day. Survival is about protecting your spirit from the things that try to break it down. It's about guarding your mind from toxic voices, shielding your heart from manipulation, and keeping your soul anchored when storms come. It is about knowing that your energy is sacred and refusing to waste it on what doesn't serve your purpose. So, let the world call it selfish if it must. Let others misinterpret your boundaries if they choose. But you will know the truth. You are not pushing people away. You are preserving the best of yourself so that you can live fully, love deeply, and last longer on this journey. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is survival, and survival is the foundation of everything that follows. The closing line, guard your energy fiercely, because without it, you cannot survive, and without survival, you cannot thrive. People who constantly drain you don't deserve unlimited access to your life. You know the kind of people I'm talking about. The ones who show up only when they need something. The ones who take without ever thinking of giving. The ones who leave you feeling tired and heavy after every interaction. It doesn't matter how much you try to pour into them. It's never enough. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your days running in circles for people who wouldn't take one step for you. Life is too short to let your spirit be drained by people who only know how to consume. Some people are not looking for connection. They're looking for convenience. They want your time, your energy, your attention, but they don't value the cost of what you're giving. If you let them, they will take and take until there's nothing left of you, and then they'll move on to the next person without a second thought. That's why boundaries aren't optional, they're necessary. Think about your phone battery. When it drops too low, everything slows down, performance declines, and eventually the phone shuts off. Imagine leaving your phone with someone who scrolls all day, plays videos, drains it to zero, but never once thinks to plug it back in. That's what it's like when you allow draining people unlimited access to your life. They use your energy, but they never help you recharge. And over time, it leaves you empty. Now, here's the truth. Being a caring person doesn't mean being available to everyone at all times. Love doesn't equal unlimited access. You can care for people, pray for them, even wish them well, without giving them constant entry into your inner circle. Because your inner circle is sacred. It's the place where you're most vulnerable, where your dreams are born, where your peace is cultivated. And if you allow people who drain you into that sacred space, they'll poison it before you even realize it's happening. This doesn't mean you harden your heart or stop helping others. It means you become wise about where your energy goes. It means you start asking yourself, who adds to my life and who only takes from it? Who leaves me feeling lighter and who leaves me feeling burdened? Who claps when I win and who only comes around when they need saving? These questions help you separate the people who deserve your time from the ones who simply want to use it. The hardest part is that sometimes the people who drain you are the ones you care about the most. But here's the reality. Loving someone does not mean letting them abuse your energy. You can love someone and still limit their access to you. You can forgive someone and still decide that they don't get a front row seat in your life anymore. Protecting yourself from constant takers doesn't make you unkind. It makes you strong enough to recognize your worth. Unlimited access is a privilege. It is reserved for the people who uplift you, respect you, and value your presence. It is not a right that everyone automatically gets. And the moment you start treating it like a privilege, you'll notice a shift. You'll feel lighter, freer, more focused. You'll stop living in cycles of exhaustion and start living in cycles of peace. Because when you remove draining people from constant access, you make room for life, giving relationships to flourish. And here's the beautiful part. When you set those boundaries, you give yourself permission to thrive. You no longer waste your best energy on people who don't appreciate it. Instead, you invest in the ones who see you, who support you, who celebrate you. You create space for growth, joy, and strength. You realize that your energy was never meant to be scattered everywhere. It was meant to be poured into places that multiply it. So remember this. People who constantly drain you don't deserve unlimited access to your life. Access to you must be earned, not assumed. Protect your space, guard your energy, and choose wisely who gets close. The closing line. Your life is too valuable to keep handing out unlimited access to those who only know how to drain it. Saying no is a powerful act of self-respect. For many of us, that word feels heavy on the tongue. We hesitate to use it because we're afraid of disappointing others, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of being labeled unkind. But the truth is, every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're silently saying no to yourself. You're saying no to your peace, no to your priorities, no to the life you truly want to build. Learning to say no isn't about rejection. It's about preservation. It's about honoring yourself enough to refuse what doesn't align with your spirit. Think about the times you've agreed to something out of guilt or pressure. You showed up, but your heart wasn't in it. You said yes, but inside you were frustrated, drained, maybe even resentful. That is the cost of ignoring your boundaries. On the surface, it may look like you've pleased someone else, but underneath, you've betrayed yourself. And betrayal of self is one of the most painful and silent forms of exhaustion. When you start to see no, not as a wall, but as a shield, everything changes. No protects you from what would harm your peace. No guards your time from being wasted. No keeps you aligned with your purpose. It is not rejection. It is redirection. It is the courage to stand in your truth and say, I matter enough to honor my limits. And here's the irony. The more you fear saying no, the more power you give to people who take advantage of your yes. Some people depend on your inability to refuse. They know you'll always show up, always give in, always stretch yourself to make them comfortable. But the moment you start saying no, you'll notice who truly respects you, and who only respects your compliance. Saying no reveals who is in your life for genuine connection and who is there for convenience. It's not about becoming harsh or cold. It's about becoming wise. You can say no with grace. You can decline without anger. You can protect your boundaries without losing compassion. Saying no doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care about yourself enough to not be used. It means you understand that your time and energy are finite resources, and you will no longer spend them recklessly. Saying yes to everything dilutes the value of your yes. But when you learn to say no, your yes becomes stronger, more meaningful, more intentional. People know that when you commit, you're truly invested because you've chosen it, not because you felt pressured into it. Your presence becomes authentic rather than obligatory, and that authenticity deepens both your impact and your peace. It will take practice. At first, your no may come out shaky, filled with guilt, followed by over-explaining or apologies. But over time, you'll learn that no needs no justification. No is a complete sentence. And the people who respect you will respect your boundaries without requiring explanations. Those who don't were never truly respecting you in the first place. They were only respecting what they could get from you. When you embrace no, you also begin to reclaim your life. You stop being a passenger in other people's agendas and start being the driver of your own. You begin to say yes to rest, yes to your dreams, yes to the relationships that nourish you, yes to the future you are building. Every no to something that drains you is actually a yes to something that strengthens you. And that is what makes no so powerful. It clears the path for the life you were meant to live. So the next time you feel guilty about saying no, remember this. You are not being selfish. You are being self-respecting. You are not shutting people out. You are protecting what is sacred within you. No is not the end of love. It is the beginning of truth. The closing line, saying no is not rejection. It is self-respect, and self-respect is the foundation of a life lived in peace and purpose. Healthy boundaries build healthier relationships. Too often, people think of boundaries as walls, as barriers that push others away. But the truth is boundaries are bridges. They don't separate love, they protect it. They don't destroy connection, they deepen it. When you set clear boundaries, you create space for respect, trust, and authenticity to thrive. Without them, relationships quickly become unbalanced, one-sided, and exhausting. Think about a garden. For it to flourish, it needs a fence, not to keep the beauty inside from spreading, but to protect it from being trampled. The fence doesn't make the garden less inviting. It ensures that what grows inside has the chance to bloom. That is what boundaries do for relationships. They protect the love, the trust, and the respect between people so that the connection can grow stronger. The truth is, when you have no boundaries, resentment eventually takes root. You may start with a pure heart, giving and giving, but over time the weight of being overextended builds frustration. You feel unheard, unseen, maybe even used. And instead of strengthening the bond, that lack of boundaries begins to poison it. What could have been a loving, supportive relationship starts to feel like a burden. But when boundaries are in place, everyone knows where they stand. Expectations are clear. Respect is mutual. Love doesn't have to be forced. It flows naturally. Boundaries aren't about keeping people out. They're about teaching people how to treat you. They are a way of saying, this is what I can give, this is what I cannot. This is how I show love, and this is how I need to be loved in return. And the people who truly value you won't see those boundaries as rejection. They'll see them as guidance. They'll understand that your no is just as valuable as your yes, and that your limits are not obstacles, but signposts pointing the way to a healthier connection. Strong relationships are built on truth, and truth requires boundaries. Without them, you may pretend everything is fine, but deep down you're suppressing your needs. You say yes when you mean no. You remain silent when something hurts you. You compromise beyond what feels right, just to keep the peace. But a peace built on silence and sacrifice is not real peace. Real peace comes when both people feel free to be honest, when both people know where the other stands, and when both people trust that the relationship can handle truth. And here's something important to understand. Boundaries don't just protect you, they protect the other person too. They prevent misunderstandings, miscommunication, and unnecessary conflict. They keep love from becoming obligation and kindness from becoming exploitation. When you establish your boundaries, you're not only honoring yourself, you're giving the other person the gift of clarity. You're showing them how to love you in the way that actually matters. Yes, boundaries may create discomfort at first. Some people may push back. Some may accuse you of being distant or of changing. But if a relationship cannot withstand healthy boundaries, then it was never truly healthy to begin with. The connections that are meant to last will adapt, because real love adjusts, respects, and grows. Real love says, I value you enough to honor your limits, just as I want you to honor mine. When boundaries are respected, relationships become safer. They create an atmosphere where both people can be themselves without fear of being taken for granted. They allow kindness to be given freely, not out of obligation. They turn giving into a choice instead of a demand. And when giving is a choice, it carries more joy, more weight, more authenticity. Healthy boundaries don't distance people. They strengthen the bond. They create the space for love to be nurtured, for trust to deepen, and for respect to stand firm. Without boundaries, relationships wither. With them, relationships thrive. The closing line, healthy boundaries are not barriers to love. They are the very foundation that allows love to last. Guard your peace like a treasure, because once lost, it's hard to reclaim. Peace is not something you stumble upon by accident, and it is not something that others can hand to you. Peace is cultivated, built, and protected with intention. It is the calm in your spirit, the clarity in your mind, and the strength in your heart. And yet, how often do we treat it like it's disposable? How often do we trade our peace for approval, for temporary comfort, for the satisfaction of pleasing people who may not even value what we've given up? When you lose your peace, you lose more than just calmness. You lose balance. You lose focus. You lose the ability to hear your own voice clearly. Without peace, everything feels heavier, smaller problems feel overwhelming, and even joy becomes hard to hold on to. That's why peace must be treated like treasure. You don't leave treasure lying around for anyone to grab. You don't hand it over just because someone demands it. You guard it because you know its worth. There will always be people, situations, and circumstances that try to rob you of your peace. Some will do it intentionally through manipulation, criticism, or negativity. Others will do it unintentionally, simply because they are carrying chaos of their own and haven't learned how to manage it. Either way, the impact on you is the same. You walk away drained, unsettled, or restless. Guarding your peace means knowing when to step back, when to disengage, and when to say, "This is not worth the cost of my calm." Guarding your peace also means being selective about what you allow into your mind and heart. The conversations you engage in, the media you consume, the environments you place yourself in, all of it either adds to your peace or steals from it. Too often, we underestimate the power of small influences. But over time, the noise, the negativity, the constant exposure to chaos seeps in, and suddenly we feel anxious without even knowing why. Protecting your peace requires vigilance. It means choosing carefully what voices you allow to speak into your life, and what environments you allow to shape your spirit. The challenge is that peace can be fragile. Once broken, it doesn't return instantly. You can apologize after conflict, you can recover from stress, but the restoration of peace takes time. It requires healing, reflection, and often rebuilding boundaries that were ignored. That's why it is far better to guard it before it's lost than to try to piece it back together afterward. Like shattered glass, once peace is broken, it may never return in the same form. That is why treating it as treasure is so critical. And here's something important. Guarding your peace is not about withdrawing from the world or avoiding responsibility. It's not about ignoring challenges or pretending life is easy. It's about choosing how you respond, choosing where your energy goes, and choosing not to let external storms dictate your internal state. Peace doesn't mean the absence of problems. It means the presence of stability in the middle of them. But you only keep that stability if you refuse to hand it away carelessly. There will be people who don't understand why you protect your peace so fiercely. They may call you distant, guarded, or too focused on yourself. But remember, the ones who truly value you will never be threatened by your calm. They will celebrate it because your peace makes you more present, more loving, more grounded. Protecting your peace doesn't push people away. It allows you to show up as the best version of yourself when it really matters. Every choice you make either protects your peace or compromises it. Every yes or no. Every boundary you enforce, every step you take toward alignment or away from it. It all adds up. And at the end of the day, your peace is what sustains you. It is the anchor that holds you steady when life gets heavy. If you let it slip too often, you'll find yourself living in survival mode, always reacting, always scrambling to get back what you gave away too easily. So, guard your peace like a treasure, because once lost, it's hard to reclaim. And never forget, when your peace is secure, everything else in your life becomes stronger. The closing line, your peace is priceless. So protect it with the same passion you would guard the greatest treasure you will ever own. Protect your energy, because not everyone deserves access to you. Set boundaries, honor your peace, and let your no carry the strength of self-respect. When you guard what is sacred within you, you don't just survive, you thrive in freedom and purpose.